Who am I speaking with?
Julian Smith.
Julian, how do people know you?
What do you like? What what am I known for? What are you asking me?
Yeah, you're known for that book and other things.
I have a pretty popular blog, and I've written a bestseller called Trust Agents with Chris Brogan.
Who I also know. Anyways, but here's what I want to talk to you about. It's a fantastic presentation. The thing that I liked about it, where you mentioned, the commonly heard thing, build your network now before you actually need it. But the part that I had never heard before, which I really liked, which is very synonymous with that, is build your channel now before you need it. What do you mean by that?
That the network and the channel are merging. And so you're ending up with, because the majority of the relationships that you have, if you have 150, 200, 300 relationships on Twitter or something, that's almost more relationships than you have in person with normal human beings. So you're fundamentally almost like engaging more inside of a media environment than inside of real life. So by definition, if you're interacting with people through media, you have a channel. That is your channel, whatever it happens to be. You're interacting with them inside of that channel. So I think that should begin at birth. It should begin immediately, even though you have no reason for it, as you fundamentally are developing, or as soon as you realize that you have access to this kind of stuff, it goes, okay, we need to do this now. And the people who are the smartest about it, just like the people who will start to learn languages early on, are the people who will have the advantage as they become older, as they move into sort of a business space or what have you.
I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, much of the success of my own business is about building channels and building networks before I ever needed it. And I could never have predicted, what had come about. And what the story I really liked was the story you told about Soapier. Can you give a little summary of that story?
Sure. It's a really famous story for a website called Reddit, reddit.com. The Soapier.com is it's a soap making company that almost tanked, and then for many years I think it was not doing well, and then it was kind of resurrected by Reddit because the guy was able to communicate with a community of a huge number of people, and the story resonated with them. I guess that just the moral of that story is that people want to hear real, authentic things. They want to hear vulnerability. They want to see all of these human behaviors that people usually hide from others because they don't want to feel weak. But it's in fact these human behaviors, these human weaknesses that cause people to actually care. And that's a great example. The Soapier example is a great example of that.
But I think what was key about that example, because most people would say, oh, Soapier, the guy who just went in and said, I really need your help, please help. But no, this guy had already been part of the community for quite a long time and then asked for help. And I think that was the critical distinction.
You're right. Anybody can go in and ask for help at any time, and they could be like, oh yeah, look at my new thing, And in fact, it does happen on that site now. But when this example occurred, it's like, yeah, you have a history, you have a precedent of being inside a community. You speak their language, you know how to talk to them, you are them, and because you are them, people feel that and they engage with it.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
I'm glad you had fun. I had fun too.